Okay, greetings everyone. So I'm here live for the first ever live Escape the Rat Race radio show, and I'm joined by Ian Luckett today, one of our escapees. How you doing, Ian?
I'm really good. Thanks very much. Hello, everyone, and thanks very much for giving me lots of preparation for this for this interview, Chris. This is going to be very interesting.
It is indeed. We are definitely experimenting here today. So let's not wait around any longer. It's an absolute privilege to have you on the show today, Ian.
Cheers,
And
Chris.
we break down the escapees interview into three parts. So part one is where you were, part two is where you are now, and part three is where you want to get to. So Ian, why don't you let everyone know where you used to work and what it is that you used to do?
Cool. So yeah, thanks, Chris. So I used to work for a company called UK Power Networks, amongst other things, and 20 years history of working in commercial roles, project management, business development, and kind of people planning, and running a really good corporate role, 6-figure salary, 80-hour week, usual sort of stuff. And then it must have been about 3 or 4 years ago now, I just suddenly realized I didn't realize, but my big why is my family, making sure I've got time to spend with them. And there was an easier way to make money rather than working for somebody else. Picked up some investment properties, passive income kicked in, got involved in a bit of forex trading, and the brain started moving in terms of how can we escape the rat race as it would do. But the difficult thing for me was I really enjoyed my job, but I also had these other thoughts about starting my own business and what I could do as well. So yeah, it was probably about 3 or 4 years ago. Thought about that. And then that's kind of the beginning of the story, I guess.
Yeah, well, let me ask you then. So at what point did you realize then, Ian, that you didn't want to work for somebody else? And what were some of the first steps that you took to start changing your situation?
Cool. So I had a couple of years where I just kind of made some really bad decisions on some jobs. And it ended up in that 2 years, me getting a job at Heathrow Airport. And I vowed never to work at Heathrow because it was too far to travel. So I got a job at Heathrow, didn't have any other options. So literally on my route on the way in and my route on the way home, I kind of thought, right, this is wasted time. What can I do? And I found a little old chap that some of us might know, Mr. Robbins, Tony Robbins, and started going through some of his programs, led on to kind of Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, and those guys, and suddenly realised there's so much more out there than what we're currently doing, in our own capability and just by pushing ourselves. So kind of over the next couple of years, tested a few things out. Did it work? Did it not work? And then found a bit of a niche, found a bit of a business. So I was going to go and coach people to do what I'd done in corporate, which was double my salary, really propel myself through the business and make myself a better person in business. So that was kind of the plan. Okay. That was the pivotal point where it was a bit of inspiration from what other people were doing.
Yeah, and a lot of people will be interested to know, Ian, at what point did you kind of decide, what was going to be, the critical moment when you came to that decision of handing your notice in? Did you balance it on sort of, income that was being generated? And, what were some of those critical decisions you had to make, or parameters that you set yourself, in deciding when exactly was the right time to quit?
Well, it was really, really difficult actually, because I moved from Heathrow into London, and I'd had a really good career. And as I said, I did enjoy my job, but I kind of had everything. I had the big salary, I had the car allowance, travel allowance, all sorts of things. And it was a really, really difficult decision to make that we kind of made between us with my organisation. And it was just a bit of a leap of faith, knowing that I could do that, knowing that with support I could go ahead and I could make a success of this business, and kind of having other people behind me as well, and all the coaches and mentors and the family behind me, knowing that it was going to happen. So yeah, it's really, really scary. It's been an interesting couple of years that we'll come on to in a minute. But yeah, it's just about a bit of a leap of faith, making sure you've got a support network and making sure you've got some people there who are going to help you and guide you, really is the key thing.
Yeah, and it was towards the back end of 2015 when we first met, wasn't it? Yep. Through one of the Escape Rat Race workshops. Yeah, and you were absolutely certain when you were at that workshop that you had this business idea, and you were absolutely all guns blazing, ready to go. So so let's move into part two and find out then where you are now, Ian. So how long ago has it been since you quit the rat race?
Well, it's about 18 months, but I think what's really, really important was that, and a good thing for the listeners is, I the business I came out with was what I wanted to do. I wanted to help people develop in their careers. So I put together some personal development systems, personal business development systems on coaching them in business. That didn't go very well because that was what I wanted to do. All of a sudden, and it was a conversation that you and I had back end of last year, people started asking me to coach them about their business and about the finances and their commercials and systems and processes, which is what I did. So the personal business development side didn't go very well at all. You phoned me up very nicely about 11 o'clock one night. We had just got off a call, so it wasn't just a random call, and said, look, I'm not buying this in. I don't get this. The tagline was unlocking your hidden potential. Who's paying you money? So we had a very, very frank conversation, lasted a couple of hours. And within about a week, Drive for Business was formed, which is my straightforward strategy for helping people, particularly IT consultants and consultancy businesses, get their heads around business growth strategy. Now, that wasn't what I went out the blocks to do. So I think if there's any learning point from this, it's make sure, and I've even heard this myself and ignored it, make sure you validate that there's a need in your market for your business. The joke of it is, people are now paying me to sort their business strategy out, and all of the work I did on the personal business development stuff is now an upsell. So that's a bit of a result, because they now need to know how to manage people, how to manage their employees, how to manage their staff, and how to manage themselves in business. So there's a really, really key thing. So now I'm doing business strategy. I originally was doing personal career strategy. If you're fed up, you're just going to go and get another job. You're not going to do what I did. And that's really, really key point.
Yeah, and important as well that you just took that first step, and quite often that first step's not going to take you all the way to the end, to the finish line. But but by doing something, you learn, opportunities arise, and then you change direction slightly, and that's exactly what happened. And can you remember the Escape the Rat Race date, Ian?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it was the 16th of February 2017, something like that. I think that was the day that I walked out, and I instantly got on the phone to John Ketley and said, look what's happened. So we had a conversation, and we kind of simmered things down a little bit, and embarked on a very interesting 18 months it's been. Yeah, it's good.
Indeed. So Ian, can you share with us 3 of your biggest realizations since you've transitioned from being an employee to becoming an entrepreneur?
Yeah, number 1 has got to be, where is your first pound coming from? This is going to cost you money. You're going to make some mistakes, and you are going to balls it up, and you're going to need support to do that. And that's going to mean money. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that when you go off, say, for example, you're going to go and sell a particular product or a service, your first pound that's going to keep your business afloat might not mean that it's going to come from you selling that product. You might need to develop it. When we spoke last time, or when we spoke back end of last year, I was on some consultancy work, which I didn't really want to do, in fairness, but I had to do it because I needed the funds to drive the business forwards. I'm now in a completely different place, self-sufficient. The business is up and running. I've just come back from one client. I'm going off to see another client tomorrow morning. There's another. It's getting to the point where I've got a good coach anyway, but getting people to help me keep where. So number 1, find out where your money's coming from. You are going to need money, and it's going to go very, very quickly. Which probably moves on to number 2, which is about any projections you need to do around your cash and around your cost. Make sure that you plan out where your money's coming from and where your money's going to, and be really, really rigid with it, because the money going out is going to go out a lot quicker than the money coming in. And it doesn't matter how many people you say that to, that's really, really true in all the stories. So don't be too blinkered. If you want to go and sell, I don't know, blooming white ball cleaner or anything like that, make sure that you've got other avenues that you could potentially, and don't worry if it doesn't kind of work out, just keep testing it and keep testing it. I think that's 1 and 2. 3 is get some support, get some help and some support. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a business coach, and I'm not just saying that because we want to escape the rat race radar. I'm saying that because it's bloody true. And if you want to get from where you are now, which is a very different place to where you're going to be, with your vision, your ultimate plan, you are going to need help. And it's, as a business coach, you kind of think, why do I need help? I'm a business coach. No, you don't know everything. And if you're not careful, you'll get sucked into everyone else's plan. How many emails do you get a day about different funnel on this and different email marketing, there's Facebook strategy on this and that? And I could sit here and watch emails. You need to discipline yourself on your plan, your goals, and kind of just, if it hasn't got anything to do with one-to-one coaching or workshops, I'm not doing it right now. It's nothing to do with that. So people could send me an inquiry. No, not interested. You've got to keep focused, and you've got to keep disciplined, on your time management and where you spend your time as well. Really key point.
Yeah, excellent points here. I think you've summarized very nicely there, you know, what it is that we create at Escape the Rat Race, which is education, support and connections.
Exactly that, yeah.
And I just want to, you know, tip my hat to you, Ian, because what you've shown is absolute determined, you know, consistent, just action. You know, you haven't stopped and you've been 100% committed. And that's the difference. You know, I see so many hundreds of people coming along to Escape the Rat Race meetups, and, you know, some are kind of half-heartedly, you know, interested in the idea of escaping the rat race, and that's simply not enough. If you're serious about this, you have to be all in.
Absolutely. And I was writing something this morning actually that really just connects and resonates. If you want to grow your business, then great, go and grow your business. If you're ambitious and you're going to do something differently, you're not going to be scared to fail. You are not going to be frightened of making a few mistakes. You're going to do something that other people aren't doing, and you're kind of obsessed with success, then I'll work with you. If you don't do that and you want to grow your business, it's a kind of nice to have. So it's exactly what you're saying there. If you want to leave your job, then go and get another job. If you really, really set on having that goal, not necessarily a laptop lifestyle, but more freedom, because that's actually what it's all about. It's about having time to, you know, next week we're going on our first 10-day holiday in the summer holidays. I've never done 10 days before, because I'm the boss and I've just decided I'm going to take 10 days off. I don't need to. I don't need to take, you know, get someone to sign my form. That was my decision to do it. But you have got to be a little bit obsessed. Maybe not quite Grant Cardone, but you do have to be obsessed with it, and you've got to be prepared to do things that other people don't do. And believe me, it'll all be worth it in the end. Because last week, I need to be careful who's watching this, but last week I closed 2 clients in one day, and I earned more in one day than I did in a whole month on my 6-figure salary in corporate.
Yeah,
it works.
Exactly. And until you actually put yourself in that position to make that available, you know, you just don't know that kind of life exists, you know. And you may have already answered it, Ian, but what do you love most about having your own business?
Freedom. Getting up in the morning, going for the walk with the dog, with the wife. Coming back last few weeks, we've been trying to get a little bit beach fit, not that it really matters, so we've been doing a bit of running as well, and then just connecting with people and helping people out. And I put a little put a little tag on a lot of my posts, you know, this isn't work, it doesn't feel like work anymore. I you know, go out and help people out, and just with the knowledge and the expertise that I've got, you know, that I'm even building up now about what I've learned through my journey, which you can use to help other people. It's just a crack, you know. You're just going out and meeting people and getting paid for changing their lives, which is kind of what experts do. So I mean, that's what you do in Escape the Rat Race. You are changing people's lives, and that's not a bad old feeling.
No, I appreciate that very much, Ian. And I just want to say thanks, James, for your comment, saying first step is the hardest. Absolutely agree with that as well. Thanks, James Masters. So moving into part 3, where you want to get to, Ian. So did you set yourself any goals or targets when you decided to leave your job to start your own business? And have you reached any of those yet?
Yeah, I did. We set a target, and it was after speaking to you, and it's kind of, oh my God, can I earn $5,000 a month out of this? Can I earn $10,000 a month out of this? And that was kind of a little bit stifled last year, obviously with the wrong niche. We've got that back on track now, and you know, we're moving towards, so you know, earning $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month. I want to be earning $10,000 a month out of my workshops and reviews at the end of this year. I've got a plan to get me there. We're not there yet. But the plan that's getting me there is 100% focused plan, and it's very, very calculated on what I need to achieve. So when I talk to my clients, we go for their money, and then we shut the cash flow down, and we just now 100% focus on what we need to do. So on this board here, not that you can read it, there is you know, a list of people that I'm targeting to bring in the one-to-ones and the workshops, and how that's all going to pan out. And just in case you're wondering, yes, this is a flip chart off. This is a really, really key point. This is a flip chart from, where's it from, Chris?
DeMartini.
From Dr. DeMartini. On the day I left corporate, he was holding a free workshop round the corner from my company. So don't tell me that's not the power of attraction in full flow on how to find your passion. And I sat there. Well, it was with yourself, wasn't it?
Yes.
We went there. And I had the cheek to go up the end of it saying, could you sign that for me? Which he did at the top, just up there. And he said, now you're in abundance. He says, go and get it. And so that's a really key thing. People ask me when I'm doing interviews, what is that? I said, that's Dr. Demartini's view on how important your values are.
That's it. Yeah, previous guest on Escape the Rat Race Radio, and anyone who's listening to the podcast version now is probably thinking, "What are we talking about? I cannot see anything at all." So, let's move on to towards the end of part 3 here. So, do you feel now, Ian, that you have greater potential to achieve your life goals now that you have more control over your time?
Oh, 100%, yeah. And in actual fact, when you go from panicking about earning money to just letting it happen, things will really, really change. So if you find yourself in a position where you're panicking about the money coming in, which I wasn't necessarily, but there's always an underlying stress about, I haven't earned any money this month or next month or whatever it is. Once that's gone away, whether because you've got a reserve from someone else or you've got another income that's kind of supporting you out, and you just let it happen, it will happen. If you're panicking about the pennies, you need to kind of dissolve that and resolve that, but your dream will still be there at the end of it. But just make sure that you've got that money that's going to be able to support you and buy you the best advice you can possibly get, because that is the way that you will get that next leap, or you will get that leap, and then you'll get your business up and running.
Yeah. And one of the best ways to make certain that you do that is by planning in advance, having mentors, having experienced people that have already walked the path that you want to walk 100%. Down. So, Ian, what's the one most important thing that you believe is going to help you with your continued success over the next 12 months?
It's going to be getting as many experts as I can involved in what I'm doing. And what I mean by that is, at the moment, my key thing for me is one-to-many workshops, one-to-one and online coaching. So I've got a coach and a group and a community of people who are experts in that. Then when I'm going to move, for example, I had a meeting with a client this morning, and she wants to talk about like an affiliate type of business model. I don't kind of know too much about how to structure that out. So this afternoon, I'm going to go looking for some people to help me out with some knowledge on that, so I can become an expert in that too. So it's kind of, the more learning you do, the more you learn, the more you earn. But it's really, really key that it's relevant learning to your strategy and your plan and what your ultimate outcome is. But yeah, it would just be, for me, it's just to keep mopping up as much information as I possibly can, because it just flows through. Yeah.
Great stuff. So final words, Ian, for those listening right now who maybe are squashed up on a train, they are on that daily commute, really feeling uninspired. Not a good day for it today. What would be your words for them if something's still holding them back? Maybe it's fear, from taking that leap of faith.
Do it. Just go and meet up with Chris at one of the events, the Escape the Rat Race events. They're very inexpensive. They give you a taste of what your capability is, and then you quickly flick that into how much money could I earn. You need to turn any cost that you've got into a return on investment. If someone's going to charge you something, so if Chris charges you something for his program, you need to think of it as an investment, not as a cost. If you ever hear yourself saying, I can't afford it, it's because you haven't realized the actual benefit that it's going to give you. And the programs that I've seen Chris develop, as a businessman over the last couple of years now, are absolutely epic. And they are just, far more advanced than the programs that I went through. So they're just even going to shortcut your route to success, and the people that you're kind of playing with really matters. So it's just kind of, what's the worst that's going to happen? Go and do the first test, go and do the second test, meet up, go through the mastermind, talk to the people, get your recommendations. You don't go out for a meal these days without going to TripAdvisor. So get your recommendations. There's loads of them out there, and just go for it. Just go for it. Seriously, you will be surprised in your capability of what's holding you back.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Ian. I really appreciate your support. You've been a fantastic member of the community, and I look forward to seeing your continued success over the next few months and few years.
Thank you to your guys as well. It's been a couple of years now we've been connected, may even been longer than that, and you've always been there at the end of the phone, and always been there to help and support and share and share the greater good. And you've got some great people around you now, which is just like super awesome. So it's just the sky's the limit. Well, it's not the sky. It's a bit warm, but no, thanks for inviting me on.
You're welcome.
We've got some value out of it, and
thanks to everyone else who's been listening and tuning in. Please do leave us your comments. We'll put this up on Facebook, and we'll be coming out on iTunes as one of our Escapees podcasts over the next few weeks. So thanks, Ian. Thanks for being a great guest today.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take care, mate. Bye now.